When people say the name or hear the name T-Rex, they think of one animal, the king of the dinosaurs, a giant predator stomping through ancient forests. But now there's another T-Rex, the one that ruled the ocean. A newly identified species called Tylosaurus rex, a colossal marine reptile that may have been one of the most terrifying predators the planet has ever seen. 43 feet long, armed with crushing jaws and serrated teeth, a predator so violent that fossils show evidence of brutal combat with its own kind. And the craziest part, scientists had pieces of this animal sitting in museum collections for decades without realizing it was a completely different species. Today, we're diving into the discovery of the Tylosaurus rex, what it was, why it matters, how it hunted, and why this ancient sea monster is rewriting what we thought we knew about the oceans of the Cretaceous. Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and today we're diving into the newly discovered Tylosaurus rex, or T-Rex for short. That's right, we have two T-Rexes now. This is going to get very confusing within the paleo community very fast. I can already feel it. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The world of the Western Interior Seaway. 80 million years ago, North America looked nothing like it does today. A massive inland ocean called the Western Interior Seaway split the continent in half, stretching from the Arctic Ocean all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Kansas underwater, Texas underwater, the Great Plains an enormous tropical sea. And inside those waters lived monsters. Not just monsters, beautiful creatures. Giant sharks, predatory fish, squid-like cephalopods, sea turtles the size of cars, and above all, the mosasaurs. Mosasaurs are not dinosaurs. They are marine reptiles, more closely related to monitor lizards and snakes than the Tyrannosaurus. But evolution transforms them into apex predators, perfectly adapted for life in the sea. Imagine a Komodo dragon mixed with a crocodile, mixed with an orca. That's the general vibe. And among the largest, most famous mosasaurs was the genus Tylosaurus. Long-bodied, powerful, fast, and horrifyingly effective. But paleontologists now believe one specimen stood above the rest, Tylosaurus rex. This is a Smithsonian Magazine article about them. I will post this in the description, a link to this in the description down below, but this is not the exact resources I've used for this, but pish posh, you get what I mean. So the discovery. The fossils of Tylosaurus rex were not freshly unearthed from some dramatic expedition. Most had already been discovered decades ago in northern Texas. The problem was classification. For years, these fossils were believed to be among another species called Tylosaurus proriger. I apologize for my piss poor Latin. But researcher Emilia Zietlow and colleagues re-examined the material and noticed something strange. These animals were bigger, more robust. Their skulls were different. You see that there. Their teeth were different, and critically, the fossils were geologically younger than Tylosaurus proriger, but by several million years. Eventually, the evidence became too overwhelming to ignore. This wasn't just a variation. It wasn't sexual dimorphism, and it wasn't an unusually large individual. It was a completely new species, a giant apex predator hidden in plain sight for decades. The name they chose, Tylosaurus rex, meaning the king of the tylosaurs. And yes, Scientists absolutely knew people would abbreviate it as T-Rex. The internet immediately lost its mind over it. Duh, because that's what we do as paleo nerds who don't know how to name things, and we love to name everything the same thing. I'm kidding. But seriously, we're getting differentiation. We're getting T-Rex is getting a split between T-Rex and Nanotyrannus, and now Tylosaurus is getting a split. This is the golden age of paleontology. All right. How big was it? Let's put this thing into perspective. Tylosaurus rex may have reached around 43 feet in length. That's longer than a great white shark, roughly the size of a school bus, compared to some of the largest known marine predators ever discovered. And unlike whales, which are filter feeders, these animals were built to kill. Its body was streamlined for speed. Its tail likely generated enormous propulsion. Here's a Tylosaurus skeleton there. I don't know if that's actually, does this picture have a caption? Yep, the Tylosaurus rex holotype. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Streamlined for speed. Its tail likely generated enormous propulsion. Its jaws were deep and muscular, and its teeth serrated, designed for slicing flesh. This is important because not all mosasaurs had heavily serrated teeth. The dentation of Tylosaurus rex suggests an animal adapted for tackling massive prey and tearing through bone and muscle. This wasn't a delicate fish hunter. This was an oceanic execution machine. The Black Knight. One specimen in particular has become famous, nicknamed the Black Knight. This fossil preserves evidence of catastrophic injuries, broken jaw, fractural facial trauma. Sheesh, can't read my own script. Damage to the snout. And researchers believe these wounds may have come from combat with another Tylosaurus rex. Let's see, do they have... Yep. Well, it's there. It's in there. I'm going to just leave this one up then. Think about that for a second. These weren't just giant predators. They may have been violent towards each other in ways similar to modern crocodiles, Komodo dragons, or even Tyrannosaurus itself. Massive apex predators colliding headfirst in territorial or mating disputes. 40-foot marine reptiles smashing into one another in prehistoric seas. This is nightmare fuel. Now, that being said, how cool would it be to be able to go and see where this was found or see this museum and actually see it? Huge shout out to today's sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. If you enjoy these majestic creatures I talk about here on the podcast and would like to go see them for yourself, I would heavily recommend Dinosaur Trips. Dinosaur Trips is a company created to give people a behind-the-scenes in-look on museums and dig sites, along with just having an amazing time looking at these amazing, fabulous, majestic creatures. So if you sound interested, go to www.dinosaurtrips.com and tell them Prehistoric Life sent you and get $250 off your tickets. Now, back to the show. Now, what did they eat? At this size, Tylosaurus rex likely ate almost anything it wanted. Large fish, marine reptiles, sea turtles, potentially even smaller mosasaurs. Basically anything it can get its jaws on. There's growing evidence that giant mosasaurs occupied ecological roles similar to the modern orca. Hyper intelligent? Probably not, but absolutely dominant. And unlike sharks, mosasaurs breathed air. That meant they needed to surface regularly, creating terrifying moments where this giant reptilian head may have burst through the water before diving back into the darkness. Imagine sailing on the Western Interior Seaway 80 million years ago. No sonar, no engines, no warning, and somewhere beneath your boat, a 40-foot predator with bone-crushing jaws is circling below. Now, why this discovery matters. This discovery is important for more than just the cool factor, which is absolutely an awesome reason. And we love discoveries like this because these amazing, massive creatures are just beautiful. But it highlights something critical about paleontology. We do not have this ancient world fully figured out, not even close. Scientists are still re examining fossils collected generations ago and realizing entire species were hidden in museum cabinets the whole time. The discovery also forced researchers to revisit mosasaur evolutionary trees and rethink old assumptions about these predators of how these predators evolved. And honestly, that's one of the most exciting parts of science. People often imagine science as a giant book of fixed facts, but real science is correction, refinement, and reevaluation. The willingness to say we thought we understood this, but new evidence shows we were wrong. That's not weakness. That's the strength of science, and that's a beautiful thing. The naming controversy. Let's go into this. Of course, the name Tylosaurus rex sparked debate almost immediately. Some people loved it. Others thought it was confusing or gimmicky because abbreviation T-Rex is already iconic. But technically, the name is completely valid. Rex simply means king. Scientists aren't reserving the word exclusively for Tyrannosaurus rex. Still, you have to admit, naming a giant apex predator T-Rex again is objectively hilarious. And honestly, it kind of fits because in the ecosystem, this animal truly was royalty. We have a T-Rex on land. We have a T-Rex in the sea. Now can we get a T-Rex in the air? Can we get a giant Quetzalcoatl sized creature that just obliterates everything in the sky? And we call that like Thalassodraco Rex or some crazy shit like that. Please. All right. The ocean was scarier than the land. Dinosaurs get most of the attention, but the oceans of the Cretaceous, wow, may have been even more terrifying than the land. On land, you could have maybe seen the predators coming. In the ocean, visibility disappears. Everything becomes shadows. Movement, silence, and evolution repeatedly creates these giant sea monsters that push predation to insane extremes. Giant sharks, pliosaurs, mosasaurs, leviathan whale, megalodon, and now one more nightmare to join that list: Tylosaurus rex, a hidden giant that waited millions of years to finally be recognized. Now, how cool would it be to get your own like mosasaurus skull? If you follow my account, you probably like dinosaurs, fossils in the prehistoric world. And if you have ever shopped for fossils, you'll see that a lot of them have some very high prices, rightfully so, because they are usually one of a type specimen. Then you go look for casts and you see a lot of these low quality casts going around, so you just don't know what to do. You either have to buy something super expensive or something super low quality. Enter dinosaur skeletons. Dinosaur skeletons specializes in creating museum quality replicas of prehistoric life and is renowned for its highly detailed reconstructions. Founded by a professional paleo artist with over a decade of experience in the collectibles industry, they are dedicated to providing enthusiasts, collectors, and institutions with the opportunity to own magnificent, lifelike prehistoric replicas. Each creation is crafted with exceptional care and attention to detail. This means they are highly accurate to their source material, super high quality, and museum grade level quality. This is probably the closest you could get to bringing home a museum exhibit. They're also fairly affordable for the accuracy and quality put into it, which also means they make great gifts for birthdays and holidays for that collector or dinosaur enthusiast you know. So go check out Dinosaur Skeletons and get your cast today. There's something haunting about ancient oceans. Most of them are gone. The creatures that live there are gone. The ecosystems vanished. And yet, every once in a while, science pulls another ghost out of the rocks. A reminder that Earth's history was far stranger, far more violent, and far more incredible than fiction. And somewhere in those ancient Texas seas, a giant reptilian predator once ruled the water. Not the dinosaur T-Rex, but another king entirely. Tylosaurus Rex. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun doing research on this amazing creature. But this has been the Prehistoric Life podcast. I hope you all, again, enjoyed this episode. Remember, like and comment. Tell me your thoughts about Tylosaurus Rex in the comment section down below. Tell me about the name, what you think about naming it T-Rex, if you think that's like gimmicky or whatever. But I think it's cool. We got another T-Rex now. We need to get like a dark triad of T-Rex and find a pterosaur that fits that. But I'm your host, Eric Crawford. This has been the Prehistoric Life podcast. And remember, keep it prehistoric. Goodbye.